Alright, so by now, we've all played the newest update for Dead Rails, and I'm sure most of you already know what dropped yesterday. But before we go too deep into things, let me just throw the question out there. What do you guys think of the update? Personally, I think this is hands down one of the biggest updates the game has ever seen. Rico Miller himself said it before the release, and now that it's live, it makes total sense. We got new weapons, new classes, brand new turrets, like the Expo turret, which gives off major Clash Royale vibes with that whole crossbow setup. And that's just scratching the surface. There's a new item, the powder barrel, and on top of all that, we received an entirely new loot-heavy location. It's honestly one of the largest we've ever seen, packed with new mobs, new loot, and a massive new mini-boss. This guy might even be bigger than Nikola Tesla in terms of hitbox, but of course weaker since it's only a mini-boss. Tesla still reigns as the big boss of the game. Anyway, I won't get too bogged down in repeating stuff you likely already know. What I really want to do in this video is cover everything you might have missed in this update. And even more importantly, talk about what the devs could add next. Because if there's one thing I'm confident in saying, it's that a lot of what we just got came straight from the suggestions tab on the official Discord. I mean, seriously, if you go scroll through it, you'll see that so many of the classes, weapons, even the mechanics were requested by players. And with just a day past since the update dropped, people are already posting some of the most creative suggestions I've seen in a while. You probably saw it in the thumbnail, a golden version of Excalibur which would rarely spawn, but with a twist. It would deal lightning damage and could turn zombies into golden statues that you can then sell for bonds. Or the new bow idea where it gives you stealth, enemies see you half as easily, and it deals revolver level damage. These are just concepts, of course, not added yet, but I won't spoil too much now. Before we dive into those, please take a second to subscribe. My goal is to hit 10,000 subs by the end of the month, and I genuinely believe with your help, we can make it happen. Also, stick around till the end of the video so you don't miss any hidden details. Thanks so much in advance. Let's get into it. So let's quickly review what came with the update. Just the essentials in case you missed anything. We got 3 new classes: Hunter, President, and Demolitionist. Honestly, out of the 3, Demolitionist is the most viable. The others are a bit underwhelming. For example, the President class is probably the worst pick for solo players, even weaker than the Zombie class. Why? Because the main ability only activates when you die. It spawns a soldier from the base, which sounds cool in theory, but in practice, it's useless if you're playing alone. I think a better approach would be to have the soldier spawn when you hit low HP, maybe around 5 to 10%, so it feels more tactical rather than a post-death perk. Now let's talk about the new special location, Stillwater Prison. A completely new faction has taken over the place. The former guards and inmates are mysteriously immune to the zombie virus. They've gone full medieval, fighting with swords and crossbows. Their damage output isn't insane, but they come in big numbers, so be careful and bring plenty of ammo. That said, this area is where you'll find new weapons and supplies, so if you're smart, you can avoid most of the enemies and go for the loot straight away. As for the new weapons, we got the crossbow, elephant rifle, blunderbuss, and of course, Excalibur. The crossbow isn't particularly powerful, but the elephant rifle? That one's solid. Expect it to be used a lot. The blunderbuss, on the other hand, has massive damage but a very slow reload. It's definitely a niche weapon. And then there's the new turret, the ballista. It fires ballista bolts, and honestly, I like it more than the standard turret. It's got that fun factor. Also, let's not forget the new mini-boss, Goliath, a massive armored zombie that literally uses a cannon like a gun. Defeating him gives you access to Excalibur. Then we've got new items: bear trap, landmine, and gunpowder barrel. A small but super immersive change. Explosions now trigger other explosives nearby. That's a detail I really appreciate. Oh, and finally, they added a rejoin system. Now, if you get disconnected, you'll see a server ID in the top left. Just enter that code to rejoin. If your server's public, anyone with the code can join. Now, let's move on to why you're really here. Future additions. First up, the bow. Since they've already added arrows and a crossbow, It's only logical that an actual bow might be on the horizon. In fact, a lot of people in the suggestions tab were requesting it, so I wouldn't be surprised if it gets added soon. Same goes for the Golden Excalibur I mentioned earlier. The idea is it has a 0.05% chance to spawn instead of the regular Excalibur. When you strike an enemy, there's a 30 to 40% chance lightning will hit them and turn them into a golden statue that can be sold. Yeah, it sounds OP, but the spawn rate is so low that it balances out. Let me know what you think. Would this be too powerful or just rare enough to be fun? Let's take a look at a few more suggestions that now make more sense post-update. For example, make more challenges, like imagine having to kill Tesla with a Hellfire potion. Or how about letting us place traps like bear traps and mines outside the train? Because right now, you can't always bait enemies back to your train, especially in places like the mansion or prison. Having ground-based activations would open up new strategies. Another one I saw that really caught my eye. Now that we have the President class, why not go all in and let players spawn friendly survivor NPCs? The concept would involve survivors using basic melee weapons or revolvers, maybe sometimes rifles, and you could find them in towns or on farms. They'd fight off werewolves, zombies, bandits, and even mini-bosses. Sounds awesome, right? And speaking of feedback, there's a fair point to be made about the Stillwater prison. It's weird that it doesn't reward you with bonds like other major POIs do. Yeah, you get Excalibur, but traditionally, big locations offer both loot and bonds. One suggestion says, add a challenge for defeating Goliath for the first time, maybe award like 15 or 30 bonds. That could definitely make the whole location feel more rewarding. Last but not least, let's talk buffs, because some classes really need them. Here's a breakdown from the Suggestions tab. President. Instead of spawning soldiers only on death, have them spawn at critical HP, and make those soldiers tank the damage first. Demolitionist. Give him a larger explosion radius and discount prices for explosives, but make sure the extended blast radius can't damage players outside the normal range. Hunter. Crossbow needs a damage boost. Werewolves could prioritize the hunter, but in return, he'd deal massive damage to them. Zombie class. Either let them heal more from eating corpses and get a short speed damage boost, or allow them to ally with other zombies under certain conditions. Both would give them more utility. So yeah, that's everything we've seen, plus a ton of ideas that could be coming. I'm genuinely curious. What would you want to see next? So, to wrap it up, what did you think of the update? Did anything surprise you? What did you love? What do you think still needs work? Personally, I think the devs cooked with this one. No joke. They went above and beyond, and it shows. And if they keep this energy going with all the feedback they're getting, Dead Rails could go from being a cult favorite to one of the biggest games on Roblox. Who knows? Let me know what your favorite part was in the comments. And if you've got ideas of your own, drop those too. I always love reading your suggestions. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you in the next one.